Good morning. I was dozing off there. Good morning, welcome to Sunday Club. Welcome to Sunday Club, boys and girls, parents. It's great to see you again. You'll probably be wondering why I'm lying in bed. Good question. The reason is our memory verse today that we're thinking about and we're trying to remember, because the memory verse is from Galatians 6, when Paul encourages all of us to never get tired of doing good. Never get tired of doing good. Now, I don't know about you, but we all get tired. The verse doesn't say never get tired, because that's impossible. Impossible. I wonder if you're just thinking right now, oh, for another hour in bed. I'm sure the adults are. Another hour in bed would be lovely. I'm sure at some point you just want to put your feet up, or even maybe get back into bed. I have been up this morning. I'm just here for the reason of the video, honestly. Well, never get tired of doing good. Paul reminded the Galatian church, the Galatian people, and I'm reminding you today, like I've been reminded this week. I've been thinking about what good things can I do to help others. The little things. Because in our story today, there's a little thing that a little boy does, and it doesn't make a little bit of difference. It makes a massive difference to lots of people. But he didn't know that. He just did the little thing. The little thing that made a difference. He wasn't too tired to do good. He didn't think, do I have to? I can't be bothered. All those things that we all feel sometimes. And we're encouraged in Galatians, so don't get tired of it. Keep doing good things. So today's story we're about to read, in fact, it's going to be acted out by a couple of actors today. It's called The Marvellous Picnic, or I'm going to rename it, Never Get Tired of Doing Good. Let's enjoy it now. See you soon. Just gonna have a snooze. Carols. We are the great Carlos and Son Bakery. When I find my son Jonas, I'm sure it was him, has turned Carlos into Carols. Oh, it's missed the apostrophe. Never mind, I'll still get him. Oh.
People used to come from miles around. It didn't matter who you were, where you were from, or how much money you earned. There was one thing that everyone knew. Carlos the baker made the best bread, and you just had to buy it. There was no point in making your own, because it can never compare with the taste of Carlos's bread. Fresh rolls for breakfast, soft bread for lunch. It was so tasty. One day, Carlos was cleaning up after another fun day of baking and getting things ready for the next morning. He looked out of the window into the distance because he was beginning to get a bit worried. His brother Barry should have been back by now. He'd gone off to spend the day listening to Jesus, and now it was starting to get dark. It was past tea time, and Carlos knew that Barry would be hungry. So he hung up his apron and stood in the kitchen, looked towards the hills once more. This time, he saw people returning, and as they passed by, he could see they were eating. The first person called out to him. "Hey, Carlos, this bread is amazing! You should get some." Before he could reply, they'd gone on their way, munching the remains of the bread. It wasn't long before someone else called out. "All right, Carlos, I tell you what, you've got some competition now. This bread is the best I've ever tasted."
Huh? What?
Then a third person spoke with him. Carlos, my dear fellow, you know I've always loved your bread and enjoyed tasting it, but this new bread is sensational. I insist you must get the recipe. Here, try a piece.
Oh. It's really good. Really, really good. Oh, I've got some competition.
He went over to them and took some of the bread. He popped a bit in his mouth and was surprised to find out how tasty it was. This was better than his bread. Carlos was now getting worried, so he went back inside to have a think. For years, he'd baked the best bread in the area. No one else's bread came close, and now out of nowhere, someone else was baking better bread. What could he do? If this new person kept it up, he'd be out of business. He was so worried that he didn't notice his brother come in. His brother Barry saw that he was worried. Hey, Carlos.
Hiya.
You look fed up. What's wrong?
Haven't you heard about this new bread? Everyone is talking about it. It's supposed to be amazing, really tasty.
So why are you fed up?
Well, it's not mine, is it? It is I've got competition in the village. I've got no chance now. You laughing now?
Carlos, you do make me laugh. Listen, you're going to love this. Have a seat. Have a sit down. I'm sure you've been on your feet all day.
Yeah, I have.
Grab a cup and let me tell you what's been going on.
I've been working till 4 this morning. Oh.
It's fine. It's fine. Listen, you know I went out in the hills to listen to Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't just me. There were thousands of us. I reckon at least 5,000 men, loads of women, loads of children. And Jesus was talking in such an amazing way, telling stories, making us think about how we live our lives. And all of a sudden, the day had just gone. And it was tea time. And because I was near the front of the crowd, I heard Jesus say to his friends, say, look, go and get some food for these guys. They look hungry. And they just looked at the crowd and said, don't be daft. It cost a year's wages to feed all these people.
It would.
Yeah, but you know what Jesus is like? He just stood there and smiled and said, just do it. And then one of his mates came up with a little boy and said, this little guy, he's got a couple of fish and a few bread rolls. It's not much, but it's better than nothing. And Jesus said, thanks, and took the food. Then he got his friends to organise us into groups of about 50, I reckon. And we all sat down. And then the most amazing thing happened. You're not going to believe it.
What?
He prayed over these little bit of food.
He
And
prayed?
he started breaking it up. Yeah, he prayed. Gave thanks for the food, like you do.
Yeah.
Started breaking it up and giving it to his friends to give out. And even though there was only a little bit of food, the first group all had enough food somehow. And then my group, we all had loads of food. And the group next to us, and so on. Everybody got fed. I don't know how Jesus did it. He has this amazing power so that everyone ate so much. I couldn't eat it all. That's why I've still got a little bit left over. I've had to wait a bit for the rest to go down. Everyone had enough to eat. And there were big basketfuls of scraps left over. It was incredible.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Barry, that doesn't explain the bread. I mean, this bread was tasting amazing and it's not my bread. I'm going to be ruined. There's a better baker in town.
Calm down. Who lives next door to us? What's the name of that little boy? Can you remember?
Is it Timmy?
Timmy.
Yeah.
And what does Timmy do every day without fail?
Well, he comes into our bread shop and buys some bread rolls.
Exactly. So,
Yeah.
haven't you worked it out yet? Who do you think the boy was who had the fish and the bread?
It's a difficult one, this.
It was Timmy, wasn't it?
That was Timmy on the hillside with Jesus.
Your bread that Jesus used. There's not another baker in town. You're still the best baker in town. It's just when Jesus prayed over it, he just made it extra special.
I'm still the best baker in town.
You certainly are, my friend. You certainly are.
That's good news. Come on, Barry. There's loads of work to do here. Stop enjoying yourself on the hillside.
Carlos felt relaxed and ate the last of the bread. There was nothing to worry about after all. No one else can make better bread than him. Well, no one except God.
13 verse 34. It's in John 13 verse 34. You gotta love one another as I've loved you. You gotta love one another as I've loved you. It's in John 13 verse 34. It's in John 13 verse 34. You gotta love one another as I've loved you. You gotta love one another as I've loved you. It's in John 13 verse 34. It's in John 13 verse 34. You gotta love one another as I've loved you. You gotta love one another as I've loved you. It's in John 13 verse 34. It's in John 13 verse 34. You gotta love one another as I've loved you. You gotta love one another as I've loved you. It's in John 13 verse 34. It's in John 13 verse 34. You gotta love one another as I've loved you. You gotta love one another as I've loved you. It's in John 13 verse 34. It's in John 13 verse 34. You gotta love one another as I've loved you. You gotta love one another as I've loved you. It's in John 13 verse 34. You gotta love one another as I've loved you.
Today's craft is a little origami basket with 2 fish and 5 loaves and a little sign that says never get tired of doing good. You will need 2 sheets of coloured card in a square shape, a piece of paper to draw your loaves and fishes on, some pens or pencils, a pencil to draw with, and a Sharpie pen if you want to outline like I did, and a piece of ribbon to attach your sign to. To make the basket, fold your paper in half diagonally, open it out and fold it in half the opposite way, then flip it over, fold it in half normal ways, open it out and fold it in half again, open it out and tuck them in so that it creates a diagonal square. Fold this piece up to the top and then this triangle down to the centre. Turn it over, fold this up to the top and then this triangle down to the centre. Put this to one side and then we're going to make the handle. So fold the card in half, open it out, fold this side into the centre, fold the other side to meet it at the centre, and then fold again to the centre on each side. Then fold again to create a thick handle, pressing quite firmly. You'll then need to fold this in half. So take the main bit of the basket and slide this handle underneath those small triangles that you created. It's quite fiddly. Fold this up to secure it into place. Flip it over and do the same on the other side, just pressing firmly just to make sure the handle stays in place. Okay, so then you want to fold this triangle into the centre and the same on the other side. Then again, this is quite fiddly, you want to turn this inside out and tuck it in. So flip the whole thing over and do exactly the same again. So fold that triangle into the centre and tuck it inside out. Then fold that into the centre and tuck it inside out. You then want to open it out on one side and fold the flap down, tuck it in, and do the same on the other side. Then fold up the bottom just to create a crease and do the same again the opposite way, just to crease the bottom. You can then open up your basket and flatten its bottom, and then the 2 flaps need to be tucked inside. And then there you go, there's your basket. So to make your loaves and fishes, you might want to draw them out on your piece of paper with a pencil and outline them in a Sharpie pen, like these ones. So make sure you have 2 fishes and 5 loaves. You can then take your colouring pens or pencils and colour them in, like these two. And make sure you make a little sign that says our verse, never get tired of doing good. So once you've done this, you can then put them inside your basket, like so. Just make sure you've got all your loaves in there. And then take your ribbon and you'll want to tie this onto the basket, like this one I made earlier. And ta-da! That is your basket. Well done. Don't forget to send us some photos.
So boys and girls, so parents, so adults, thinking back to the story today, our story, what was it that Carlos got really worried about? Can you remember? What did he learn in the story? What was he worried about? What was he worried about? He was worried that someone else was better than him. Someone else was making better bread than he was. He started worrying about other people and what they were doing and what was important to them. When Barry just started laughing, didn't he? Because Barry knew the truth. And the truth was that people still loved Carlos's bread. Oh, we've all tasted fresh bread. Oh, the amazing bread that is. It's gorgeous, isn't it? Fresh, freshly baked bread. Carlos's bread was still amazing. But he started thinking someone else was better than him. He started worrying about other people. Well, Carlos learned an important lesson, and the lesson is to not worry about others, just to do what we're good at. Just do the good things that we can do. The good things, whatever they are. It doesn't matter what they are. If they're good things, keep doing them. And that's what the verse reminds us. John chapter 13, verse 34. You must love one another as I have loved you. That was the song, wasn't it? That was the song. And the verse, our memory verse today, reminds us to never stop doing good. Never stop doing good things. Good things. And those good things are loving one another. Because Jesus loved us, we pass them on. We pass them on. And in the chapter it goes on to say, we'll reap a harvest. An amazing harvest. If we keep going and we don't give up. If we don't give up, we don't get too tired of it. And we don't get too tired of it if we keep going, thinking of others, helping others, and doing the good things that we're good at. Well, I started thinking of all the good little things, or little good things that people have done this week to help me. And I started writing a list of all the people that I can remember have helped me. Well, I got to 44 people. 44 different people this week, in these last 7 days, who've helped me. And some of them, I never even met them before. Some of them delivery drivers. Some of them are the people who helped me on the roads, let me through when I was driving. Some people who helping run the traffic lights at the junction where there's some roadworks just in Waverton, and are helping me there. Some people delivering the food that I bought from the shop. There's so many more than 44, but they're just the names of people I know. Little things that all of those people have done to help me, to do good for me. It's amazing, isn't it? I didn't realise it was that number. Let me say a prayer to finish. My coffee's arrived. Somebody, Lucy and Rachel, together, I think they made it together, have made me an amazing coffee with my little lid to keep it warm, because I'm a bit slow drinking it. What a good little thing, or a little good thing they've done for us. Never get tired of doing good. Let me pray for us as we finish. Lord Jesus, help us to not get tired of doing good. The good things that we can do, the good things that we can say, the good things that we can think for others and for you. Help us to not get tired of doing those things. Lord, we want to see your kingdom come. We want to help others. We want to make a difference in this world. Help us to do the little things, whatever they are, Lord. Help us to keep doing them, because that's your kingdom of good things, your kingdom of little good things. Help us to keep going, keep doing them. Amen. Good morning, boys and girls. Good morning. Have a great day today. Bye-bye. Oh, that's really good coffee.